his own Rick Del Santo. We are back this week. Joining me is the DVD Freak and Dan the Beast. We are returning. I'm excited. We got a lot to cover tonight. We haven't done a show since early last week. So, all right, Border. Making damn signs. We got a lot to cover. There's 2 pay-per-views coming up this weekend. United Wrestling Network has announced that they are having a world title tournament finally after all these years, and EC3 debuts in Ring of Honor and whatever the fuck else comes up. So, gentlemen, where would you all like to start?
Oh boy, should we just get the Hell in a Cell out of the way?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you something. I was doing a little research. Now, I have not watched Monday Night Raw as of yet. I did listen to Busted Open this morning, and it did not sound like it. It sounded like it was a fucking doozy, basically. It just, Dave LaGreca was quite sarcastic in saying it was one of the best episodes he had ever seen. And I was like, I sat there, is this guy really serious? And come to find out, he was just joking for about the good first 5 minutes or so. But not many matches have actually been announced as of yet. I mean, this could be. I want to know. You are, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 5 days away. Only 4 matches are announced.
There you go. And it's fucking. I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go on a little rant here.
Already? Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The Hell in a Cell pay-per-view has pissed me off for 11 years now. It should not be a fucking pay-per-view. It's an attraction match. It is what should end a rivalry. You should not have 3 Hell in a Cell matches in one night. Let alone, you shouldn't have its own pay-per-view. I remember when Hell in a Cell was special. You had no clue when the next one was going to be. But now, every year, October's coming up. Let's just throw a couple people in the cell and say, fuck it.
Well, there are 4 matches announced. Like I said, 3 of which are Hell in a Cell matches. The SmackDown Women's Championship, Bayley and Sasha Banks, which I am not looking forward to that at all. Hell in a Cell for the WWE Championship, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, and that one would probably be all right. Pretty good, I guess. Yeah. I do like Drew McIntyre a lot. Not the world's biggest Randy Orton fan, but a lot of people are talking like he's one of the best out there. Personal opinion, I was a huge fan of his father's, but, it's 30 years later or whatever. So, that one could be pretty decent. I'm just not a huge fan of his. And then the Universal, is that right? Yeah, Universal title. The Hell in a Cell I Quit match is Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. And according to the World, it's the last match that they had against each other. They tore the roof off.
Did they? I didn't see it. I actually do commend an I Quit match inside of Hell in a Cell. That's actually really cool. I do like that. I will give him credit.
And on top of that, Jeff Hardy was taking on Elias. Elias returned this past Monday on Raw, and when he left, I think it was due to injury, he was a babyface, and he comes back as a heel. So he was only a babyface for like a few weeks when he went out injured.
Well, he doesn't work as a babyface.
Yeah, well, I know that,
Are they still going off of the whole thing where Jeff Hardy ran him over or something? Or what happened with that? He was drunk or something, and then Sheamus got involved. What was that whole thing? I don't even remember.
Yeah, I think that's around the time period I decided to just give up on SmackDown because I never followed through with that.
Well, I gave up on SmackDown a decade ago. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now. People, please stop asking me if I watch Raw and SmackDown. I haven't watched it regularly since 2009. That's 11 years ago.
I wouldn't say that I stopped watching it that regularly that long ago, but I will go in phases. Probably once a year. I'll watch it for a few weeks and then totally give up. I actually finally, about a month or so, took it all previously recorded episodes off my DVR and just clicked stop recording because I couldn't even sit there, watch, and fast it because I couldn't even, next thing you know, I fast forwarded through the whole episode and then I didn't even see anything that was worthwhile. There's a handful of guys on the roster that I will enjoy watching. AJ Styles is always one of them. He's always been one of the best out there and one of the, a guy that I've always appreciated since his earliest days in, say, NWA Wildside and WCW as like a younger talent. Daniel Bryan, same thing. Watching him grow in Ring of Honor and such. And then there's guys like Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, and there's a lot of guys that come into WWE and they'll change their personality, and then it's just, it kind of ruins that attraction that you have. Guys like Daniel Bryan or like AJ Styles, they're constantly putting on good matches, even though their styles have maybe slightly changed for the mainstream purposes. They're still putting on best matches on the show. They're like slightly altered as to what they were. But
yeah, I saw Bryan came back. I did watch that segment just because I'm a huge Bryan Danielson fan. Yep. And it was pretty much nothing. So yeah, there you go.
It was just a return. It was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that clip was probably uploaded to YouTube the next day. So maybe.
That's where I watched it.
Yeah. So yeah, there's like a handful of guys. I haven't even actually tuned into NXT. Quite a few, probably 2 or 3 months. I have kept up a little bit here and there on AEW. Not that that's WWE show, but out of the mainstream wrestling shows, I have kept up on that. That just seems to be more entertaining and more involved, and more geared towards fans' interest. And WWE is just not doing that. NXT is just, like you said, ever since they gone to USA, they have changed. It's not as, and they've gone to 2 hours. And they've gone to 2 hours. It's not as interesting as it was. It's a little bit more dramatic than the.
It's what I like to call Vincified. Ever since it went to USA Network, it became Vincified, where I actually really enjoyed NXT for a few years. I went to one ringside. It was one of the best shows I've ever been to. But now that it's on USA, I just couldn't give two shits. The fact that they put a football player on, I don't know if it was the main event for their takeover.
Yeah, football player, or was he just a personality?
I think it's Pat McAfee, who I hate football with a passion, but I recognize his name. But like,
I thought he was like a talk show host or some bullshit. I don't know. I'm not a fucking football fan or a sports. Not that wrestling is not a sport, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm just not a fan of that stuff.
But when it comes to AEW, I keep track. I keep track on it. It's just I work every single Wednesday night. That's the one day a week I work the same shift every week, so I can never watch it, but I still follow it. And we have the Full Gear pay-per-view. Are there any like matches announced for that? Because that's not too far away.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I think
it's early November. I think it's the Full Gear pay-per-view, which I'm sure we'll cover that one.
Yeah, we'll definitely be covering it. That'll be it looks like something's here. Let's take a look. So far, there's 2 matches announced. Cody will take on Darby Allin for the defending the AEW TNT title. That's cool. FTR will there's just going to defend it. It says to be decided. And then go ahead.
Shouldn't the TNT title only be defended on TNT?
That's what I'm saying.
What? What the fuck? It's a TV title, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean the WCW TV title. Once they started defending that on like pay-per-views, it kind of, in my personal opinion, it lost its luster because that was the one title that was defended on regular television, whether it be syndicated or on say World Championship Wrestling or WCW Saturday Night, whatever, what have you. I don't think that's a belt that should be defended on pay-per-view. That's exclusive to the regular television shows.
Because you could easily have it be like he faces Darby Allin, but if he beats him, he gets a number 1 contender shot for it.
Yeah.
To be defended on TNT.
Right.
You know, you can still have the match. You can still have the match, but have a different stake on the line for it.
Unless is Full Gear gonna be on the a pay-per-view this year?
Yeah, well, they have 4 every year, so I assume.
Yeah, this is gonna. It says pay-per-view. I know that some of the bigger shows that they held last year, they ended up breaking up and having like 2 nights on TV instead. I forgot what that one was called.
Oh God.
But
yeah,
I don't remember. It was over the summer sometime, but they ended up doing that instead because the pandemic. You know what I mean? So, I thought maybe if that would make more sense for him to be defending the TNT title on there. You know
what are your thoughts on NXT doing all of these WWF and WCW pay-per-views? Because we just had In Your House, we have Halloween Havoc coming up, where I think they're bringing back the wheel, aren't they?
I believe so.
Like it's becoming a little too gimmicky.
Spin the wheel.
NXT should be its own thing. So why the hell are we bringing all these pay-per-views back? Because we had War Games. We had War Games as well.
Right. It seems like they are going into bringing older WCW type pay-per-views. I mean, with the exception of them having the one you just mentioned, In Your House. But they had War Games, and now they're having Halloween Havoc. And Great American Bash,
Oh, that one too, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they had WWF use that after, during the earlier 2000s. I mean,
yeah.
I think it's, for the old school wrestling fans, it's kind of a nostalgic thing. You know what I mean? I don't, but I don't know, are they going to ruin the legacy of those pay-per-views? Probably not, because who that watches NXT today were around then, you know what I mean, to remember WCW Halloween Havoc 92 or anything like that.
But my problem with it is NXT is an analogy for next generation.
Mm-hmm.
It should be building its own brand, not playing off nostalgia.
Yeah.
So I just think it kind of defeats the purpose of NXT in the first place. If we're just doing all these nostalgic names and brands and just taglines, it's just beer,
Yeah. I get what you're saying. But, at the same time, I'm not totally against it. It's just I'm not jumping on board to say, they did a Starrcade every year, too, in November, right? It's like a house show.
Yeah, it's a fucking house show.
Yeah, but then I think last year they aired 4 matches, right, if I remember correctly, on the network. Or 2, and then there was like 1 performance by Elias, which I mean, oh my God, he's so talented.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of their Starrcade shows, so I don't know.
I think they've only done 2, if I remember correctly. Last year was the only one that made it to the network for an hour, and then the one prior to that, I've seen clips of that was uploaded online. Dan, what's your opinion?
I mean, the way I see it, it's kind of just a lackluster of creativity. Kind of just bringing up all these WCW pay-per-views. I mean, it's a good revival. I mean, obviously, some of these pay-per-views we haven't seen in over 20 years.
Right.
I mean, obviously, it's under a new banner. I mean, it's not original. But, I mean, at least if you're going to do something like that, at least bring, some type of, probably, guest host or something like that. Like, somebody who was actually a part of this, original, series of events. That was going on back in these days. So,
well, the announcers that they have that were on a lot of those are over in AEW, Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone. I mean, unless they got somebody like Mike Tenay in the later period or somebody like that, I can't think of anybody that was. Or I think Tony and Jim Ross covered a good portion of them over the years. And anybody else you think of outside of like Mike Tenay, like Bobby Heenan's passed away, so. Unless they just brought back some random people, I guess. You know what I mean?
I think it would be pretty cool if they had some type of special backstage interview or I don't know, Magnum TA or somebody, or someone of that magnitude.
Right.
Didn't they bring back Todd Pettengill for the In Your House show?
They did.
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was quite comical. And then there was a Doc Hendricks, what do you call it, like a cameo or Easter egg, whatever you want to call it. It was like a framed picture of him on the wall as Johnny Gargano was walking out of the house. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was pretty comical in itself. Like I said, I guess I'm not totally against it, but because it brings back some of nostalgia for people of my age. But I guess, like you said, just move it forward for the younger crowd.
And talking about like nostalgia and everything, I know Raw, like throughout the years, have always done like these old school type of Raws. I think it's definitely, I think Raw's Wars definitely due for a comeback for one night only.
Yeah. Bring back I was surprised at some of the people. They had like a Lord Alfred Hayes impersonator doing the, promotional consideration parts, and they had guys. Sean Mooney would make a comeback for the one night, which I always thought was cool. He was a cool announcer, I thought. I'm trying to think of who else has popped up on the old school Raws. Just random people here and there.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Attitude Era person, so...
Me neither.
Yeah. If I were to see a Raw's War, I'd just be like, oh, look, they're riding off their coattails again. Like...
Alright, so basically that. What else we got here that we wanted to discuss?
I wanted to bring up some topics, regarding the new season of Dark Side of the Ring that now has been official, as we're officially getting 14 episodes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when it comes to like some discussions that haven't been brought up yet, I mean, either some that either need to be, retold from different points of view, or just, stories that we probably haven't heard of at all.
Right.
I mean, one I would probably say right off the back is like Brian Pillman, especially with his son being older now. I mean, the last time we really heard Brian Pillman Jr. talk about his dad was like the Loose Cannon DVD that came out in 2006. But of course, there's like shoot interviews too with RF video. But just to get a deeper understanding of like what like after Brian Pillman's death, and basically what his wife was practically doing with all the money after that, basically just just practically just using his son as just like bait, like, oh, let's do it for the kids, especially when they were doing the Brian Pillman tribute shows.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously after that, a lot of wrestlers started to realize, like, all right, she's starting to become a shiesty individual. We're not going to interact with her anymore. We're not going to get involved. So, they hear it from Brian Pillman's Jr.'s own words nowadays, like 20 years later, now that he fully understands, what truly happened after his father's demise. It'd be an interesting story, especially what he has to say about his mother. I mean, I'm sure he still loves his mother, but obviously there's some good and bad terms that, come with the territory.
All right. I think that one of the topics that I brought up, I think that I'd like to see like an Eddie Guerrero episode. I think that
we kind of already got that with the Benoit episode, because it was two parts. They actually went into Eddie in more detail than I thought they would.
Right.
So I feel like they were kind of killing two birds with one stone there. But you could easily do an episode on before that, like the time he got fired from WWF.
Right.
You know, the first time he got let go. So there's more material there for Eddie, or you could just do the whole Guerrero family if you want to.
That's the other thought that I had, like maybe the other, but like, do they have that much tragedy? The family, you know what I mean? Just
wasn't Hector kind of fucked at one point?
I have no idea. It's before my time. What about what anybody other episodes? I think Dan, when I was talking to Dan earlier, he said the Dynamite Kid. I think that would be a good episode as well.
I would love. There's a few I'd love to see. The Ring Boy scandal.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean.
Oh, great times. Great times for everyone.
It'd be an interesting episode, I should say. Yes.
Yeah, crack a beer. Let's have some fun. But I would love to see Rick Rude. I think that's my number one because his final days were actually very dark and interesting. A lot of people don't realize he was training for another run in WWF at the time. Like he was seriously like dedicated to coming back and being a main event player again. And I don't know, what are some other ones? I mean, 14 episodes is a lot, so.
Yeah, I wonder how many of those are going to be two-parters. That's the other thing.
Another one that I brought up that I think really needs to be discussed would probably be to have to be the incident between Lex Luger and Miss Elizabeth.
Yeah.
The steroid trial.
That'd be a good one. I think that'd be a good one. Yep.
You could do one on Ultimate Warrior if you wanted to as well.
Yeah, I think that's right too. I mean, they pretty much covered that stuff in the two Ultimate Warrior DVDs WWE produced between the one where they bashed them and then the other one, the second one that they did.
Well, they did three.
Did they really?
Speaking of Ultimate Warrior, I think another one who had a dark past was the guy who portrayed the ripoff Ultimate Warrior, Renegade.
The Renegade, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel bad for that guy, honestly.
Because I know after his run, he went into like a deep depression and basically committed suicide not long after that.
Yeah, he had been with them a lot longer than you'd expect. For him to be there, and he hung in there quite a long time.
Right.
A very. Go ahead.
I think another one that probably should be brought up, or at least re-advised, I'd probably have to say like Jake the Snake Robert, because I think he's been through a lot throughout the years, and obviously from when the documentary came out in 2005, obviously a lot more went on after that, but obviously he sobered up. So I'd probably look at it as like tragedy that turned into triumph in a way, because obviously Jake's doing good now. Right. Especially now that he has a role in AEW as, a manager who probably, still cuts some of the best promos nowadays in half the roster.
Yeah.
And
he proves that he is very much needed, you know what I mean, in this industry with those freaking promos that he cuts, you know what I mean, these days.
I have
a very important player. Okay.
I think one you could do is... This is controversial because it's still going on, but the whole Saudi Arabia deal with WWE,
right?
Where they were basically they were fucking held hostage at one point.
Yes, they were. I mean, they deny that, but you know what I mean.
No, it's like people that were released. I think the Good Brothers, they were commenting on it and basically detailed the situation very well. So
yeah,
I mean. Now I lost the other two. Go ahead. Alcohol's kicking in.
I can't think of much else that would, be that would make a,
And then
what you got?
I think other two episodes that come to mind. One would probably be China, and another one that can probably be brought up because he's really not brought up nowadays. Is Louis Spicoli.
That'd be cool. I think that'd be a really cool one.
Sherry Martel's death.
Yes.
Her death was so overlooked because it was a week before Benoit.
Yeah.
Right.
Her death was actually pretty gray area. Like, I think you could easily do an episode on her. I'm a huge Sherry Martel fan too.
Me too. I think she was amazing. She was she had all the talent in the world. She's possibly one of the greatest wrestling managers / valets in ever existence. I was a Sherry Martel over Miss Elizabeth fan. So,
okay. Yeah. Okay.
She was hotter. Sorry.
Okay. That I won't agree on, but all right.
Whatever. She had better outfits, better outfits, better makeup. That's all I'm saying.
Well, it's because Macho Man wouldn't let her fucking dress in the outfits.
Yeah. All right. So we got much else on the dark side of the ring?
I think I had one more. Oh, you know what? You might as well, as fucked up as this guy's life already is. Marty Jannetty.
Oh God, he's writing his own episode as we speak.
I was gonna say it just keeps getting worse day by day, and I can't even say enough about that guy because how much of it is actually made up because of the drug and alcohol abuse? You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion.
I have my other ones.
Okay.
I think you could do one on the Edge, Lita, and Matt Hardy love triangle.
Okay. All right. I could see that happening.
And then I could also see them doing one on Shawn Michaels and Sonny, the little affair they had. And then you could even do one on Chris Candido's death.
Yeah. His death wasn't really that controversial. I mean, he got sick after an operation, got staph infection that was overlooked, and
yeah, but I'd love to see just a career retrospective for an episode.
Yeah.
And it may not be dark, but it's still he still died very young, so I could see them considering that a dark side of the ring type of thing.
He was very young.
Oh, you know what? Now I think about it. What about Yokozuna? Basically just talking about like habits. Obviously the guy got to a max capacity where he couldn't really compete like he used to. So.
I heard he couldn't compete at all. He couldn't even move. He was wearing sweatsuits or whatever that between
that, I mean, he was still practically, obligated under contract until about like 97, 98 to his release, and then he was still doing independent events after that. I know the time of his death where he was, I think he was at like a hotel because he was actually booked for an indie event. So.
Yeah, I saw him on an indie show in 98, 99, something around there. And I think it was Danbury or somewhere in Connecticut. And so it was him, Jim Neidhart, against Jake Roberts. And, oh, gosh, I can't even remember who the other opponent was, who Jake Roberts. And it was just he wasn't able to move barely, Yokozuna,
What about Nails?
Yeah, I think Dan mentioned that. Yeah, Dan mentioned that one to me when we were talking about potential episodes earlier.
Yeah.
Where he just choked Vince out because he asked for more money?
And then he said he raped him.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
That's totally what happened.
This Saturday is Bound for Glory by Impact Wrestling. And then guess what? Impact Wrestling actually announced the full card as opposed to WWE's show the following day where they only announced 4 matches. So I think that pretty incredible. Which show out of the 2 which you guys think is going to be the better one? Shut up. It's going to be the Impact show. All right.
Yeah, like, come on.
I mean, I honestly think, and I think I've discussed this with Dan, we've done some Impact reviews. Impact has been killing it. They're just not getting enough attention because they're not on a television network that's readily available everywhere, like the USA Network or Fox, like WWE or even TNT. You know what I mean? It's access is not available on every cable outlet. Um, Impact World Champ. Go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I could take a shit on the floor right now and stare at it for 3.5 hours and still be more entertained than the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view.
We don't know that yet.
Yeah, we know that. We know that. Come on.
I'm trying to look at the bright side.
My first episode on here was Extreme Rules, all right?
I had drank 3 shots of 100 proof whiskey, thought I made a complete ass of myself, and thought I died. Yeah, that was. What was the next one after that you? Was that really? What was the next one that you came on and reviewed?
I think we did ECW, the ECW show.
Okay, we did the ECW run. So we never covered another WWE pay-per-view after that. Other than maybe SummerSlam the next one, and then we decided
you weren't there for SummerSlam. We had Mark Boy on as your replacement.
Oh, that's right, because I was.
It was Extreme Rules.
It was Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it was my anniversary, so I wasn't there for SummerSlam. Jesus Christ, we've been doing this a long time. All right. The Impact World Title, Eric Young defending against Rich Swann. Come on, Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think Rich Swann is at that level. No offense to Rich Swann. He's a competent competitor. I just don't think he's world title material. Eric Young, I think, is a phenomenal wrestler. But I just don't, and I'm not saying that Rich Swann isn't. It's just that he's, I'd consider him more of like a cruiserweight style, or X division, if you will. But I think that overall, I think this will end up being a pretty good match. And I think that Eric Young will walk away with the title.
Yeah.
This might.
I can't see Rich going anywhere with it. Not yet.
Yeah,
probably not even at all.
Yeah. I mean, they've been hinting at it for months, really, ever since his injury. They've been, I just don't think it's going to happen.
This will tell you how long it's been since I've watched TNA. I remember Super Eric, along with Curry Man and Shark Boy, when they had the superhero trio, and then Eric Young would get scared of his pyro every time it would go off, even though he knew it when it would fucking go off. So, yeah, that should tell you how caught up I am with TNA.
You need to get on the ball. I'm telling you that it's been really good as of late, and I think that 2021 is going to be a great year for them. And I think they need to get on the ball and get a better network, personally.
What are they even on? What are they on right now?
Access TV. Like I said, not even every cable network gets that. That was the channel. Yeah. That was the channel that aired New Japan, WoW, and a shit ton of MMA, and it was like VH1 Classic for fucking shitty rock fans.
Yeah. That's what I remember Access TV as.
Dan Rather hosts a rock and roll show of some sort. It's like. All right, the Knockouts Championship, Deonna Purrazzo will take on Kylie Ray.
Yeah.
I think there's a pretty good chance Kylie Ray is going to walk away with the title. I think it's a pretty good chance.
They're definitely pulling a Bailey trigger with her with the whole, okay, she's not going to be smiling anymore. She's going to be putting on her grumpy face like, ooh. But no, the way I see it, I like the way they've been building Deonna lately. I wasn't expecting her to win the title as soon as she walked through the locker room.
Right, it was basically her first match or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved the build up that they had with Jordan Grace, where it was just like, okay, you're building up these two competitors up for the main event of the pay-per-view. Don't have them face each other. Don't have them touch each other. Like, all right, not here, not now. Wait till the pay-per-view. We're doing this at my time. Right. I love that build-up. That's like classic old-school wrestling right there. But
I think that Impact is pretty good at doing that classic old-school build-up. Honestly, I really think it is. They are really good at that.
But the way I see it, with Kylie Ray, she's all there, but I don't think she's they're of that caliber of holding the world title just yet. Then again, Bound for Glory has been known for its surprises throughout the years. For
Yeah.
example, like when they did the whole Jeff Hardy 10-10-10 heel turn. I mean, I was kind of like, oh, like what the fuck? I mean, it was still bad, but at the same time, it was like you never really saw it coming, aligning himself with Bischoff and Hogan, and then just building this whole immortal stable. And I think that's
Right.
probably when I stopped watching Impact after that. But
I stopped watching Impact on 10-10-10 because they spent an entire fucking hour cutting a promo. Bischoff and the other guy you just mentioned, the immortal one, Hulk Hogan. Because remember they built it up that it was going to be like a big reboot for Impact or TNA, whatever the fuck it was called, and they come out there literally. It's like at the 55-minute mark, they're still standing in the ring, fucking cutting a promo, and I shut it off. I said I can't do this. I didn't turn back until 2018.
right.
I went.
I was gonna say I definitely love Deanna Purrazzo and where she's been going. I would have expected her to have like a more bigger role at NXT during that whole Robert Stone brand bullshit that's been going on with NXT and Chelsea Green. Obviously, that's not really going anywhere at the moment.
Right.
But I mean, I like the way she's developed herself. Obviously, she went through that whole phase in the promo where everybody thought she wasn't ready yet, and obviously she's lived up to it. And she's been an adversary, like a pretty good adversary when it comes to not only holding the world title but putting on some good competitive matches against built up rivalries. So.
Right. Freak, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say I stopped watching after Mick Foley showed up. I think Lockdown 2009 was the last pay-per-view I actually watched live.
Wow.
And I went to a TNA show in 2015, and it was a good show. It really was. Yeah. That was when EC3 was champion. Like I said, he did a signing where I work, and I bugged him for 3 hours. And then his manager...
Where was this? Where did you work at the time?
It's where I still work, so I won't say.
Oh, okay.
But,
all right. We want all the listeners to come and harass you. So.
Yeah, I've already had enough of that. But but yeah, I harassed him for 3 hours. He was in heel mode, and that was kind of cool. EC3 was really cool. And then his manager got me backstage at the house show. I got to meet him.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, Ken Anderson, which I'm a humongous fan of. Tommy Dreamer, Jeff Hardy, so. That TNA house show was actually really cool. Like, because I've been to a lot of WWE house shows, and you can tell it's just choreographed to hell. They do the same thing every night. Whereas the TNA house show, like, you could tell they were trying to do something different and really put on a show for the for the 70 people that were there. So, yeah, TNA, man, like, I don't know. Ever since Bischoff and Hogan got involved, I just tune it out as much as I can.
Right. I think what turned me back on was in 2018. Somebody had kept saying it was really good again. It's really good again. And I was like, yeah, I don't believe you. I don't know if it was 2018. Maybe it's 2017. But I remember turning it on and Bruce Pritchard's fat face was on there. So I said, oh, I don't want to see this. So I shut it off. But then it was like my buddy kept bugging me. He's like, oh, no, it's really good. It's really good. So then I guess I turned into... I remember seeing Dutch Mantell was cutting a promo. I'm like, well, who's fucking running this show? Is it Bruce Pritchard or the other guy I just mentioned?
Dutch Mantell?
No, Bruce Pritchard or Dutch Mantell, yeah. And then I was just like, every time I turned it on, Cody was on one, Alberto De Patron, or El Patron, whatever the fuck they call him.
We should talk about.
There's a fucking episode. There's a fucking episode of Dark Side of the Ring right there. So I just wasn't convinced entirely. You know what I mean? But then I ended up ordering the Slammiversary pay-per-view in 2018. I was like, holy shit, it was such a fucking good show. So I started watching it. I don't know. It was on every Thursday night or whatever on Pop. was like it was formerly the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
But I was watching, I was like, this is a pretty good show. So I made it a point to be sitting there watching it every Thursday night at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. And then Bound for Glory was coming to Queens. Me and my buddy got tickets. I honestly, to this day, think that was one of the best shows I've been to ever. Like, it was just exciting, excitement from beginning to end. And I got to see James Ellsworth get the shit kicked out of him, put through a table. Can't get any more wrong than that, better than that. I'm trying to think who else was on there on that evening.
I didn't know you actually went to a Bound for Glory. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, there was to this day I still think that's like out of all the shows I've been to since I was a little kid, that show sticks out as like one of the best.
Wasn't that the same show that Austin Aries didn't sell to John Morrison?
Yeah, and then he walked out and flipped off Ed Nordholm or whatever, and it was just like, me and my friend were like, was that legit? Was that like a shoot, or was that like, part of the show? And I was come to find out the shit was real. Like, it was total shoot that he was pissed off because he did not want to lay down and lose a title. He's saying Austin Aries disappeared forever from Impact Wrestling. So
where is Austin Aries right now?
I saw him show up in Ring Warriors. Which,
I don't know what the fuck that is.
I will explain it. I will explain it to you. Ring Warriors was a promotion.
Ring Warriors. That's the worst name I've ever heard.
It was started by Howard Brody, former president of the National Wrestling Alliance, or promoter for the National Wrestling Alliance. I'm not sure if he was actually a president, but he was involved in the NWA and, if I remember correctly, ECW at one point in the 90s. Do you have Amazon Prime? I know you don't stream shit.
I'm highly against Amazon.
Anyways, if you go to Amazon Prime, you can actually stream the entire season. They were on that channel. Was that UGN or WGN or some GN? I don't know. But either way, the final episode of the first season never aired, but you can watch the whole season and that episode that didn't air on Amazon Prime. But it was actually way more enjoyable than I thought that it was going to be. Because just that name, Ring Warriors, just sounded like shit. Other than that, I know Aries popped up somewhere.
Wasn't that MLW?
It's possible. I think you're right.
I actually like Austin Aries as a worker. I just don't like. I don't like him as he's not a good person, but I don't like him as a worker. I've seen him live a few times, and he's great.
He's a phenomenal worker. He's just an asshole in real life. He's just a real jerk from what I've. Well, it's not like I've ever met him. I've just heard from people and fellow fans.
Yeah.
I mean, JJ had a good experience with him at an indie show. Obviously, he sat and took a picture with him. So.
Oh, there you go.
The Impact. It's a 4-way tag team title match for the Impact World Tag Team Champions. Champions, the Motor City Machine Guns. That's Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin defending against the Good Brothers, the North, and Ace to Austin and Madman Fulton. I'm predicting the Good Brothers take the titles here.
I was surprised because my friend had texted me, because she knows I'm a huge old school TNA fan.
Yeah.
That the Motor City Machine Guns came back. I was like, holy shit! Like, so I watched their return and everything, And it sucks that they couldn't return in front of the crowd because they would have got
Yes.
such a pop, such a good reaction.
I think that it would have been an insane reaction. It's just,
Yeah,
and it wasn't
they're
Alex
my
Shelley. Alex Shelley was in like a fucking NXT show prior to that, like a few months earlier than that. He showed up like as a one-off as in the tag team classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're my all-time favorite TNA team. I love them. So that was really cool to see them reunite and come back together.
It's really cool to see them every week. The North is a great tag team. I love Ethan Page and Josh Alexander. I think they're great tag team. They are the previous champions. They lost to the Motor City Machine Guns. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually won the titles back, but my prediction is going to go with the Good Brothers.
I'm going to have to go and steer to a completely different direction, as I think Austin and Madman are going to win the titles only because of the chemistry that's been building up between them these past couple of months. I think sooner or later, I think it's going to be like one of those situations where one of them's going to win the world title and the other one's just going to have like this form of jealousy and say like, hey, where's my chance? I got you here to where you need to be. So give me my opportunity. Kind of like Shawn Michaels and Diesel back in the early 90s.
My guess is that they're gonna polish Ace Austin up for a world title run. I've been sticking with that for a few months now. That they're gonna really push him up for that. Gentlemen. All right. So other than that, the 6-person intergender scramble for the X division. Champion Rohit Raju, Chris Bay,
okay,
TJ Perkins, Trey Miguel, Willie Mack, and former Knockouts champion Jordan Grace.
Wait. TJ Perkins is with TNA?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yes.
I was a huge fan of him. Okay.
Yeah. You need to start watching. You could stream it.
You know who I miss? ODB. Is she still with the company?
She was, and then she showed up in NWA for quite some time, for quite a few. I thought she did some really good work for the NWA. She was bouncing back and forth for a little bit between all with the NWA and Impact. But this one, it's either Rohit Raju continuing with the title. I don't think they're going to put the title on a woman. They made the mistake of putting a men's title on Tessa Blanchard, the main title. I just don't think they're going to do that again with the X division. I think that it's Rohit Raju is probably going to retain the title. If not, then Chris Bay walks out with the belt again. Prediction. I'm a huge Chris Bay fan. I think he's phenomenal.
I like Chris Bay.
Yeah.
As I've noted, I've actually tweeted him on this. I've actually been following him since his YouTube days, since he was actually doing wrestling content himself, doing like wrestling DVD unboxings, collections. And then, further down the line, I seen that he was getting trained, doing training, getting ripped, because he had actually talked about in one of his videos, like, hey, he wants to train for a professional wrestler. So I was like, all right, cool. Fast forward, I want to say it was sometime late last year. He showed up in 205 Live, and I was like, that can't be who I think it is. So I looked him up and everything, and I'm like, holy shit, it's the guy from YouTube. All right, like, this is where you've been. Now, wow. And then, finding out that he signed a contract for Impact, and finally getting that opportunity on such a low. I can't say low budget, but just like a company that's slowly, reviving itself from its own grave that it's made. And then, obviously winning the X Division World title from Willie Mack at Slammiversary. I was just like, well, all right, it's a good start. Obviously,
it is,
the reign didn't last long, but it's kind of good to see somebody who you kind of grew up watching from on a different platform onto a bigger stage. So that kind of just made me happy, seeing him right now on Impact. So.
My experience with him, I was familiar with him on Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. And then one day I saw him on 205 Live. I was like, huh. I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then the following Friday, he shows up at an indie show in Connecticut. He showed up at a Paradise Alley show. And I was like, what the fuck? I said, this is crazy. I was like, last week he was on WWE TV. Here he is sitting in front of me in front of 50 people. He's standing behind me. I was like, hey, man, I saw you on TV last week. And then he goes, oh, yeah, I'm going to be on TV on Impact tonight. Apparently his tryout match was for Impact was the following week. And I took a bunch of photos. I actually posted them not so long ago, and he thought it was very cool that I actually had a bunch of pictures of him on some random indie show. And so that was kind of cool. He was a very cool person to meet, and nice dude. And I just think he's going to walk away with the X Division title if Rohit Raju doesn't.
Do they still do the Ultimate X matches?
Not that I've seen since I started watching Impact on a regular basis.
Damn, I love those matches.
They should. I thought you weren't necessarily a real gimmick guy when it came to matches.
Yeah, but that was more athletic. Like AJ Styles really knew how to do an Ultimate X match.
Yeah, I mean,
and
he's AJ Styles.
Yeah, I think it's better than a ladder match. Less gimmicky than a ladder match, to me at least. And I always like the aesthetic of it.
Yeah. I'm sure at some point they're going to come back with something like that,
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too gimmicky for me, but
yeah,
it was. They always knew how to make it work.
The next match is EC3 challenging Moose. EC3 stole the TNA title from Moose, threw it in a river, but then showed up the following week with the title. So, I don't really. It doesn't say that it's for the TNA title. I'm not sure if your Mr. Matthew Tremble is aware. Moose, they did a whole TNA reunion for a couple weeks on Impact TV, and they did a special, and Moose stole the TNA title and claimed himself as champion. So, and then EC3 came in and basically, basically he's claiming that he's the champion. He's taking that title.
So he literally just took it and claimed the title?
Yes.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's Vince Russo booking right there.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, it makes you hate the guy. So if that's the point, then you succeeded.
Yeah. I feel bad for Moose because I don't think he's really that bad of a wrestler. He's just kind of annoying at times. I know he's Dan's favorite wrestler.
Yeah, Dan over there, you're really selling this one. You're a fan, aren't you?
I don't know if Dan knows what's even going on right now. You good, Dan?
Yes, sir. I'm good.
The rated R superstar.
I don't know. Moose is basically everybody's been putting Moose over when they come in. So I think they're really trying to build Moose as a star. I don't know if this is necessarily going to go the same way for this, but I can go with EC3 most likely. And then there's going to be a singles match. Eddie Edwards is going to be taking on Ken Shamrock, and Sammy Callahan is in Shamrock's corner.
Wait. Ken Shamrock? What the hell is this? 1999? Wait, hold on.
Yes, the Ken Shamrock. Yes,
what?
Is the world's most dangerous man. Is
more like Ted Bundy on steroids.
That would be Al Bundy. Ted Bundy is a fucking serial killer.
But wait, are you actually saying? Oh my God, Ken Shamrock's actually wrestling?
Yeah, he's come back and.
How old is he now? Like.
He's like what, 50 something?
I remember in 2005 when he came back to MMA, it was embarrassing.
I don't want to comment on any of that stuff because when I saw him get annihilated by Tito Ortiz, I damn near cried. Like legitimately.
Didn't Franklin beat him as well?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I forget.
I don't watch a lot of MMA, and that's around the time period that I stopped watching MMA. So
okay, I like MMA a lot.
Yeah, I'm not. I was a huge fan, especially in its golden days. But
Yeah.
it's over the years. The rules have changed over the years. It's now about presentation and show, kind of like WWE, as opposed to like watching
I
something
I
with heart.
I stopped watching MMA when Rousey showed up.
Yeah, I was not a fan of hers either. So
Oh my god, fuck her.
I would read about her. I mean, every now and again. And when I was into MMA, I'd always seek out the other stuff. Like I was not a huge, UFC that back in the day when it was, um, when it was not so glorified and not so, made for TV, I guess.
Produced.
Yes, exactly. I'd go and I would download Shudo events from Japan or Brazil. You know what I mean? Legitimate stuff like that. I'd get different events because that's like Shudo had been a company that had been around since the 80s. Doing like that stuff. So.
Did you ever watch Pride?
Of course.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a great conversation about that the other day with my friend Robert. I don't remember how we got on the topic, but you remember when UFC bought Pride? It's like they tried bringing all the guys over, and because there was different rules set, everybody that came over from Pride got the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's
yeah.
because they had to adhere to a different rules. So
I remember I used to stay up and watch WEC a lot.
that was on like every Friday night on like some weird cable channel.
Yeah, I used to watch that all the time.
I don't know how much of it was reruns, but
Yeah, dude, I used to love MMA, and now ever since Rousey showed up, I was just like, I'm kind of out of it. I'm starting to get back into it a little bit though.
Every now and again I'll watch something. First off, I don't like the cage. I like an octagon.
Yeah.
I do like Bellator. I like it how it's like kind of like a circular cage, but I liked Pride. I liked, was younger, I'd watched Rings or Deep, stuff like that. All the stuff from Japan before MMA actually came over to the United States. It's like a major sport.
Yeah.
I would always get them with tape trading because wrestling fans, would also get their hands on that stuff. So
yeah.
So I always liked that kind of stuff. It was always more enjoyable. It was more serious. It was always seemed more deadly, less rules. So some crazy Japanese guy tearing somebody's head off with 2,000 knee strikes.
Yeah, you just have Lyoto Machida going in there and just fucking murdering people. Yeah.
Right. But I don't really, I don't pay attention to the sport much these days.
Yeah, I do from time to time.
Yeah.
I don't like McGregor either, so.
No, like I said, they all got the big, whatchamacallit, the big stars, the big talkers, guys like that.
Yeah.
The Clubber Langs of MMA.
Yep.
So. All right, there's one more match for the Impact show. It is a call your shot gauntlet where the winner could choose any championship match of their choice. Jesus Christ.
Cool.
If Heath wins or Rhino wins, then Heath and Rhino also wins a full-time contract with Impact Wrestling. If neither wins, then Rhino is fired. Hernandez will enter last while Rhino will enter first. Jesus H. Christ. There's a lot of fucking rules to this shit.
Well,
it's AC Romero, Alicia Edwards, Cody Deaner, Brian Myers, Jessica Havoc, Heath, Hernandez, Larry D, Rhino, Taya Valkyrie, Tennille Dashwood, Tommy Dreamer, and one to be announced. That's a lot of intergender shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, Tennille Dashwood, holy shit. But anyway, why is Heath Slater not have a contract?
Well, it's a storyline.
Yeah, but like, what's the storyline reason? Because didn't he show up like months ago? Like, what's the reason?
He just jumped the rail. He just jumped the rail and said
they're basically doing the same storyline. They're basically doing the same storyline like they did in 2016, where he's basically just like a free agent.
Yeah. Oh God.
He's got kids. He's a free agent.
I love.
They're showing that he's got too much he wants too much, too many demands. You know what I mean? He brought in this whole contract, and Scott D'Amore threw it across the room, saying that fuck it, basically.
Okay. All right, that makes sense.
Quite a funny segment. I think Heath is a great talent. You know, I feel bad for him that he got let go from the E. And I'm hoping that he can really shine in Impact. You know, he jumped the rails and demanding a contract and saying he's pretty much here to invade. So I think it's going to be a good. This might be a good match, but I'm just not into intergender stuff, like guys hitting girls and stuff like that. It really irks me. It really irks me. I don't believe in it. So.
Yeah, I agree. I was never into that at all. But I didn't know Rhino showed up in TNA. I mean, he made a career there in the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Good for him. I always liked Rhino.
He showed up pretty much in a mask like the day after he got released from WWE or his contract expired. Yeah, showed up in a mask because I think
ballsy.
Yeah, and he came out in a mask, speared. Dan, do you remember? Because I think we both did a review on that show. Or
could have been probably.
It's not a spear. It's not a spear. It's a gore.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a gore.
Come on.
Gore. Sorry, I had to cheer it. Was it Rob Van Dam? Was that who it was?
Either Van Dam or Callahan. One of those two.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but I remember he just showed up. I was like, that's got to be fucking Rhino. I mean, it's pretty fucking obvious, you know what I mean? But he was dressed in head to toe in black with a black hood on, so it was kind of baggy, so you couldn't really tell his body style, as to what it was.
I actually heard recently that RVD, he's going to be doing stuff with WWE again.
Yeah, his contract with the Impact had expired. He's going to be doing some work with WWE. My guess is that they're going to use him for filming purposes.
Yeah.
He'll do some sort of Rob Van Dam project, documentary or whatever. My guess is that he'll come back in for a match or two to help promote those things. You know what I mean? That'll be about it. I don't think he's going to have a full-time job there.
Well, I think they'll throw him in the Hall of Fame too.
Well, they didn't even host this year's Hall of Fame, did they? I don't think they.
No, they did. I don't know what the fuck's going on with that, but.
Yeah. So what's that next year? They're just going to do a double Hall of Fame, or what's going on?
Hey, oh God, I hope not. The Hall of Fame's already a piece of shit.
Yeah. as much as you might say that, I think that it's still one of the shows I look forward to for nostalgic purposes every year.
Well, it's a run.
Until
it's a
basically
joke of mine.
Until basically Hillbilly Jim fucking went on and ranted for an hour and a half. Then I kind of lost my interest. But
a running joke of mine is I went to WrestleMania 34, and of course my headliner was fucking Goldberg, who's my least favorite wrestler of all time. So
yeah, I could see that.
And then I did get Hillbilly Jim as well. He was down there. Fucking
oh, you had to see that.
Yeah, whatever.
I
got to see that live.
I did meet him before, back in like 1995 or so, and he was quite the entertaining and quite a nice guy. He really was. Yeah. It's just that thing. It's just goddamn. That speech went on for a year, literally.
I didn't see it.
Well, yeah. Luck, good for you.
Yeah.
I sat there and watched it on TV. I probably got up to take a shit 3 times and, make a steak, and he was still on there.